today we're signing, and this is very historic, an executive order establishing a strategic Bitcoin reserve and digital asset stockpile. This is a promise that you made throughout the campaign, and today we're keeping that promise. The reserve will be capitalized with Bitcoin that the federal government already owns, so it won't cost taxpayers a dime. This is like a digital Fort Knox for digital gold. And premature sales of Bitcoin over the past years cost American taxpayers over $17 billion in lost value because we didn't have a long-term strategy.
Right.
Now we do. So.
And this is something you believe in fully?
100%, yeah.
Okay.
And the whole community believes in it.
Very good. And they made the promise, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Man, gives me chills. What a historic event. What's up, guys? It is Wednesday, March 12th, 2025. We're at the Bitcoin block height of 887,526. TikTok, next block. Real quick, guys, I want to thank every one of you for helping me out. I just hit the 1.7 subscriber mark, 1,700. And for me, that's a lot. I come a long way from starting this YouTube channel in September of 2020, September 20th to be exact. And yeah, there it is. Join September 20th, 2020. And, you know, even though I'm pretty much shadow banned here on YouTube because of a lot of the magic words I say, I'd rather have quality than quantity, to be honest with you. And what I mean by quality is I mean you, each and every one of you here on this journey with me. Some of you guys fell off after I sold some precious metals and stuff like that. But hey, I'm never going to compromise myself for not telling you guys the truth. And I just got to say I love each and every one of you, and I really, really appreciate you. Thank you so much. As you guys can see, the Bitcoin price crashed down and then went back up. So we're sitting at right around 83,300 as of this recording. So yeah, things are looking better for the price short term. But again, you know, for me personally, I want to try to get as many Satoshis as I can. And I'm sure you are too, or you want to too. And 1,201 right now for your dollar, for US dollars, what you can trade it in for. So that's a pretty good trade as far as I'm concerned. I did a live yesterday covering the Bitcoin Policy Institute. They did the Bitcoin for America meeting yesterday, and they launched the Bitcoin Act. And I'm going to talk about that today, that and the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve. And I did that live yesterday, so if you want to check it out, I thank you guys for showing up to that, everybody that did. And I reacted to some of the videos, but I'm going to react to one in particular today. But you guys go check that out, especially this man right here, Nick Bajik, I think his name is. He's a congressman out of Alaska. I'm telling you right now, his profile picture in the future, he'll have laser eyes. He's a big Bitcoin bull. He's the one that announced the Bitcoin Act right here in these videos. So go ahead and make sure you check that live out that I did yesterday. And before we get into the video that I'm going to show you guys, which is going to be very, very surprising when you see what I'm going to show you, I want to talk to you about the Bitcoin Act real quick. Let's read this. And I pulled this up from the Brave website, and I want to read it to you real quick. The Bitcoin Act, formerly known as the Boosting Innovation Technology and Competitiveness Through Optimized Investment Nation Act, was reintroduced by Cynthia Lummis on March 11, 2025. They mean reintroduced because she already talked about it in 2024. And real quick on Cynthia Lummis, we talk about us building statues of us. I always say that. They're going to name a city after her, or maybe even a state. Who knows? I don't know, because this woman, when it comes to Bitcoin, she's an absolute legend. She really is. This bill aims to establish a SBR by authorizing the U.S. government to purchase up to 1 million Bitcoin over a 5-year period. Now, he didn't announce that when he said that yesterday. He didn't say the 200,000 Bitcoin per year for the next 5 years. He didn't say that in the speech, which would represent approximately 5% of the total supply of Bitcoin. The Bitcoin Act would also codify President Trump's Bitcoin reserve plan and ensure that the government holds the acquired Bitcoin for at least 20 years before selling it, unless it is used to pay off national debt. And that's the plan. The funding for this initiative would come from net earnings of the Federal Reserve and the Treasury Department issuing new certificates for the Federal Reserve's gold holdings reflecting current market price. That's a long way of saying budget friendly. In other words, the taxpayers are not going to buy the Bitcoin, which I think may change. I don't know. But there's definitely a bunch of ways they can do it without printing money and costing the taxpayers dollars. The Bitcoin Act has garnered support from several Republican senators, including Marsha Blackburn, you see the names, indicating a growing pro-crypto Bitcoin sentiment among influential lawmakers. If passed, the Bitcoin Act could have significant implications for the global cryptocurrency market, potentially reshaping economic policy and strengthening America's global financial leadership. However, the implementation of the Bitcoin Act faces several challenges, including legislative hurdles, market volatility, and funding complexities, and some congressmen too. The bill was read twice and referred to the Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs in the Senate on July 31st, 2024. That's when Cynthia Loomis first introduced it. So yeah, that's the Bitcoin Act. So what's the difference between the SBR, the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, and the Bitcoin Act? What's the difference? Really, it's no difference, right? It was a multi-step process to get here, guys. To be honest with you, all the seeds were planted in the last couple of years. But what really happened, of course, during Donald Trump's candidacy, during his campaign, he was talking about it. Cynthia Lummis was working in the background and out front. She was working on it for the last few years. She's been in Bitcoin for quite a while. And then when President Trump announced that he was going to do a crypto reserve, he received a lot of backlash from the Bitcoin community. And so that's when he came out with the executive order on Thursday, March 6th. And that was phase one of stop the bleeding and make sure we keep our Bitcoin that we have. And now that we did the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, the Bitcoin Act is like another piece of that. It's still the same. It's the name of the bill, bringing it up to Congress. That way Congress can pass it. Not only are we going to keep the Bitcoin, but we're going to buy more. But remember, Trump laid the groundwork, him and David Sachs, by saying no money from the taxpayers are going to be paid to buy any more, right? So they laid the groundwork with that, and now they're bringing it up to Congress with the name of this Strategic Bitcoin Reserve bill, quote unquote, as the Bitcoin Act, and showing us that we're going to buy it and everything else. But it's going to take some education with that. And speaking of getting the bill passed, even though the Democrats are the minority of the House right now, I believe it's 422 to 413 Republicans versus Democrats. There's still a couple of rhinos in the House of Representatives, and mostly all Democrats are going to vote against anything Trump does. Except apparently this guy right here. This is Representative Ro Khanna, Bitcoin advocate. He's woke and he's a Democrat. But I told you this, and I'm not trying to get political here, but I told you this about Democrats, right? Democrats are hypocrites at the base layer, but then on top of the base layer, you got two different type of Democrats. On top of the hypocrisy, you got idiots and actors. And this guy is by far an idiot. He's an actor, straight out. But every once in a while, I've heard him before he got into Bitcoin and did the speech that I'm getting ready to show you. Sometimes he makes sense. He actually talks common sense. And I'm like, is this guy like a moderate? But then he'll go right back to acting and being in the woke thing. So this is him at the Bitcoin Policy Institute. This is in D.C., the live I did yesterday for the Bitcoin for America speech. He's a Silicon Valley representative in his area. And let's see what he has to say about Bitcoin.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Let me start by saying what I believe is the obvious. Bitcoin should be bipartisan. The reality is we can't have policy in this country where you have one president does an executive order, another president comes, reverses the executive order, and that there's total uncertainty when it comes to something like Bitcoin. What we need is a consensus that Bitcoin is good as a store of value for the United States and good for the world. I mean, it's just technology. That's what I don't understand about a lot of the hysteria. The basic idea for many is that you don't have, as all of you know, a centralized authority. You don't have people who are gaming the system. You have something that's easy to transport. You have something that's easier to store than gold. I mean, anyone who carries gold in their home would know. Unfortunately, there have been burglaries because there are a lot of Indian American families who still keep gold in my district. But it's easier to store.
Ding, 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 ding. He's Indian, right? And I'm not trying to get racist here or something like that, but this guy, even though he's on the left, he's smart, and Indians know about gold, okay? And this guy is very, very smart. He's woke as hell, but he's smart as hell. And again, no one has more gold or values gold like Indians. They just don't. And he knows the value. And again, the combination of him being Indian and him being in Silicon Valley, knowing about new technology and stuff like that, even though he's woke, he's far from stupid.
And that's why a lot of people have chosen to use it as a store of value, not just in the United States, but around the world. And this is one of the things I tell the Democratic Party. We're the party in the tradition of Kennedy who believes that we should reach out to the world, that we should make sure that other people around the world have economic empowerment and freedom. Well, if you're in Nigeria, or if you're in parts of India, or you're in other parts of the world, and you have a government that regulates foreign exchange, I know because I used to visit India as a kid when my grandparents were there. I mean, they had very strict controls at the time on getting a dollar. You couldn't just be on the market and get a dollar. But guess what? Now you're going to be able to get Bitcoin. That is transformational for so many people around the world. And that is why the Democratic Party should be embracing this as something that can create financial empowerment for people, not just in the United States, but around the world.
Wow. He actually sounds like he has common sense. Have you heard a Democrat in the last 5-6 years talk like this? No, right? Because everybody's Trump deranged. Whatever the Republicans or MAGA or the conservatives do, they got to go against it. But this is the one thing, man. Even at the congressional Trump's congressional speech, when a little 13-year-old boy with cancer, they didn't even stand up for that. They didn't stand up for the people that died and stuff like that. None of that. But this man right here, dropping the act, okay, because he's an actor, has to admit this is a good thing. Now, I'm not saying all Democrats or even most or some are going to do this, but Bitcoin is common sense, right? And if anybody has any kind of truth to them or integrity to them, because that's what Bitcoin is, again, Bitcoin's for everybody, Democrats, Republicans, evil people, whatever. They're going to tell the truth about it. And right now, that's what he's doing. And I got to give him credit for it. Even though I don't like him, and he's an actor and he's a Democrat, he's telling the truth right now. And Bitcoin will do that to you.
I am committed. I was in Nashville. I'm here. I am committed to working with Senator Loomis, with Senator Gillibrand and others to have a rational policy when it comes to Bitcoin, when it comes to blockchain. And I appreciate all of your advocacy. I'll end with this point. What makes America so incredible, and I say this as representing Silicon Valley, is we've been on the forefront of innovation. We are always thinking about what comes next. And we've been at the forefront of innovation when it comes to finance. And so if we now have new technologies that make it easier to store and transmit value, we should be embracing it as a mark of America's innovation capability. All of you are on the frontiers of that innovation. Thank you for being here. Thank you for what you're doing.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So there you have it. This is the national debt, obviously. But hey, he did a great job. You know what I'm saying? You got to give credit where credit is due, man. You know, even though our country is so divided and stuff like that, I think this may be the one thing, hopefully, that can bring us together. Because the money is broken, right? And as you can see, our debt is crazy. And I'm loving what Doge is doing right now. These numbers are right. But at the end of the day, Elon Musk is doing great. Trump is doing great. They're all doing great. But with the combination of the strategic Bitcoin reserve and then putting it into Congress as the Bitcoin Act, bringing it up, that's the only way that's gonna pay this off, this debt, this national debt. You can't use the same system to fix the broken system. You can't do it. And there's only one way to fix this and long-term inflation. And if you've been on my channel long enough, I'm pretty sure you guys already know what that is. It's the best way to save. And for me, the only way to save. And that's Bitcoin. I love each and every one of you, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace and love, guys.